to slide up the thing, but I forgot it's this. I look extra dark, don't I? I'm not that dark for real. Not yet anyway. But if summer keep going the way that it's going, I will get there and I will not be mad about it. Let me put this up. So I'm still partially getting ready, but I wanted to come and talk about something. I want to come and talk about something. So hopefully you read the title, because that's what I want to talk about. Yeah, I want to talk about some growth. Oh, I should go in that store. No, I shouldn't, because I don't need nothing out there. I don't need nothing. From that store. Had to put my sunscreen on my face. Trying to take this tag off my shoe. But what I want to talk about is, do you see yourself as worthy enough? I was getting ready, getting myself clean, and one of the things I'm proud of is how I deal with certain questions now. Like before, people would ask me stuff and I would be a completely open book, like just oblivious that, I ain't gonna say oblivious, but just literally not believing that, people would do stuff just because they are just simply wicked. But experiencing gang stalking and people constantly watching me and worried about what I'm doing, I literally just had some lady question me about what I got going on that was none of her business. Absolutely none of her business. Okay? None of my life is anybody's business, but because I'm being gang stalked and God is using it, my life is for everybody to see, right? Cyber stalked, hacked, all of the things, my business is out and open, right? But this girl looks at me and asks me something that was absolutely none of her business. And I looked at her and I said, why did you ask? I said, why? I said, is that something that you need to know? She said no and walked off. What I choose to do with myself is not anybody else's business but my own. My younger self, before experiencing the wickedness that a lot of people walk around with, right? I would have probably just been all free to give her what she asked, right? But I realize now when it comes to me, because everybody wants to be in my business, they don't ask me stuff because they genuinely care. Not most people. I've ran across few people who ask me stuff because they genuinely care. Everybody else just want to be nosy and run it back to the group that's in a huddle, meeting up at the desk so they can talk about me when I leave, right? I encounter people every day. They don't speak to me, and I don't mind it, because you don't got to be fake. You can be courteous, or that's something simple, right? But you don't have to be fake with people. I went into a restaurant the other day. The entire staff decided that they were going to start pretending like they were doing something else. Okay, cool. I experienced that. I'm used to people acting a monkey when I come around. I'm used to it now, right? But she tried to finish with "have a good day." You don't have to be fake. You already showed me who you were and how you felt. You don't have to be fake. Keep that energy. I'm going to take this food so I can go deliver the person's food. So to anybody who I happen to deliver your food, I apologize in advance. The people who make your food at the restaurants, they hold your orders on purpose when it's me delivering it. I'm just telling you the truth. They hold the food on purpose because it's me picking it up. So if you've ever had me deliver your food, it's because the staff at the restaurant are in their feelings about me being in there picking up food, and they do silly, stupid stuff. It's the truth. But nonetheless, as I was minding my business and someone else came along also wanting to mind my business, what came to me was the idea that I think sometimes people struggle with believing that they are worthy. And the reason that thought came to me was because oftentimes a lot of people don't know what to do with themselves unless they see someone else confident in doing something. And I'm not saying that as if it's a bad thing or a horrible thing. Not at all, right? Because we're people. We need the motivation sometimes to do things. And sometimes we get that motivation by seeing other people do it, right? However, there are some things that some people might want to do, but they're too scared to make a move or to do it because they don't feel like they're worthy enough of being the person to start it or to do it, right? So they don't do it. And sometimes I think it's also because people don't want to deal with the pushback that comes with a lot of people, right? And I get that because I deal with so much pushback from people. I could be any place, a person walking around, they'll see me. They know who I am, right? Because I'm being cyber stalked. And they have all these ugly faces that they make at me. It's ridiculous. I think one thing I do like is that from people watching my life, I now see that even with the petty people, they try their best to pretend like they're not bothered when I'm around. I said it like that because that's exactly what it is. They try their best to not seem like they're bothered when I'm around. I know they got it from me about being unbothered, okay? But I hear a lot of people oftentimes speak on the different lessons that they take from watching me interact with these individuals throughout my day. But oftentimes our community is in the predicament that it is sometimes because we are still in this mindset that you have to be the best, that you have to be better than. You can't just be you and feel like you're worthy to do whatever it is that you want to do. And when I say whatever you want to do, I mean whatever you want to do. As long as it's not hurting or harming someone else, you should feel worthy of what it is that your aspiration may be, right? Maybe you want to be the first person to double dutch on the moon. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there, right? Or the ocean, because never mind. But I think so many times we look up to people that sometimes are not always good influences, but because they have the image or the platform behind them, we say, oh, this is the person that is worthy enough to kind of dictate what we should aspire to be. You know what I mean? So for example, some of the nicknames that people come up with to do, right, don't really help us as a community move forward, but it does create community, if that makes sense. So no, so it creates community. Hold on, y'all, drop my chopstick. It creates community, and because people enjoy community, then they will participate in whatever that thing may be, right? Think of anything. Baddies is actually the first thing they came. Baddies are hotties, right? Hotties was a buzz thing. Everybody wanted to be a hottie, right? Everybody wanted to be a baddie. But then when you consider like some of the things that baddies do or stand for, rather, right? Like a lot of the stuff that they show or advertise, it's not necessarily good for the younger generations to look at and be like, I want to be a baddie. And it's because all they're doing is fighting, right? Beautiful girls, but all they're doing is fighting all the time. All they do is fight. Like, there's not other stuff to do. All they do is fight. Yeah, they travel to different countries and they fighting in those countries. Like, all they're doing is fighting around the world. That's it. There is more to life than fighting all the time or being mad or being hateful. And I'm saying this because I experienced so many people who try to pretend like they're not mad or like they're not hateful. And you are holding all of that stuff in, and then you're acting it out on other people who are not even doing anything to you for you to even be mad in the first place. And so we continue to look at people that are outside of us and feel like if this person is doing this, because this person is yielding XYZ result, then I automatically want to do that. Instead of looking at the person like, okay, dang, well, how did they come to that concept to even, have the courage to do something like that? And then how can I embody the courage so then I can do what I think is best for me? We continue to look at people like these people have to be the end all be all example, right? And all of us are flawed. Even when you think about the disciples, every single one of them had some type of flaw, some type of issue, some type of addiction or sin that they had to overcome and get over, right? Every single one of them, all of them had flaws and imperfections, and God still deemed them worthy enough to be servants of His, to be used by Him, to be taught by Him, to go out into the world and spread the word that He is God and He lives and He saves and all of these other different things, right? He still saw all of their imperfections and saw that they were worthy enough. But what society has become is that we look at people and either we're going to overly judge them, or we're going to feel like, okay, because they have success in XYZ, then I have to now have that type of success. Instead of saying, cool, this was the courage or confidence that they had, let me embody that. So then I'm not hating on somebody else just because the person who I look up to is being a hater. Now I got to be a hater because this person that I've idolized is a hater. So I'm going to be a hater too because that's what the club is doing. And so I was really sitting there thinking about that. Like, some people don't see that they're worthy enough to hold themselves to the same standard that they hold people that they don't even know. You don't even know somebody and you see that their life looks a certain way, instantly get mad instead of looking at that person and going, what was the base behind how they got to where they are, confidence wise, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is that you're looking at this person and saying, this is who I want to become, or I like this about this person, or I like that about this person. And instead of doing that, you make that person an idol in your life. And now either you're overly obsessed about the person, you hate the person, but you're trying to be like them too. I've seen so many people who are literally cosplaying my personality, my mindset, but then they're the very same people who hate on me or try to tear me down and destroy me doing silly little stupid stuff. And some of these people are older than me. So you're outside walking around pretending like you embody my personality traits, but you're hating on the person that you're trying to be. It don't make no sense. People don't think they are worthy enough to be themselves, not pretending to be somebody else or not pretending to have certain qualities and personalities when they don't. Like, I've seen even people who have already quote unquote made it by some of y'all standards trying to cosplay as me. They've made it physically into positions, doors, and places that I have not yet even gotten into. And they're cosplaying as me. Mind you, these people have already made it. All they have to be is themselves. But how do we get to such a point where even the people that you idolize are now flipping, trying to pretend to be somebody else, and they're not solid about who they are? They're emulating and imitating somebody else, but also hating on that person in the same breath and instance. Are you not worthy to be yourself despite of how somebody else shines or appears in the world? Are you not worthy enough to believe that you can be you and still look at somebody and say, I love how this person may carry themselves. I love how this person may think. What is it about me where I still get to be myself? But then maybe I can learn how this person did XYZ and then apply it to my own personality, my own mindset, and be me without trying to paint yourself like it's somebody else that you're not. It amuses me so much to see so many people who will look at my life, pretend that they have that same mindset. And I'm not saying some people do not end up with that mindset. I don't think there's anything wrong with people realizing like the mindset that I once had was not healthy, or Like, even with myself, there are some things about my mindset that I have to catch myself, especially being stalked, right? One of the things now that I realize that I have to be mindful of is balance between what I notice and what I pick up, right? There has to be a balance because there's so much stuff going on throughout my day. There has to be a balance. So many people come up just trying to pop around me, just trying to pull from my energy alone. And these are people that don't even like me. I had two grown men this morning standing outside my car. They walked from their gas pump or wherever they were parked at, came, stood maybe not even 100 yards out from my door. That's part of being gang stalked. I'm being followed and harassed by strangers, and was just steady talking junk. I was already talking junk because I seen something stupid online. It's so many people, or women, men too, who are worried about what somebody else is doing with their life. You can't live their life. So whether or not this person wants X, Y, and Z don't have nothing to do with you. They feel like they're worthy of what they want. What you want for them ain't got nothing to do with them. It don't hold no water, no weight, no nothing. No oil, no nothing. Nothing. You thought you were worthy to go get chopped and screwed, and look how you look, and you were okay. Did you listen to somebody? You probably did listen to somebody who told you to do that. But outside of that, you did what was best for you. Nobody cares if you want to sit there and try to influence your audience to be like, oh, this thought process, this mindset is stupid. That's you. I'm not trying to use the influence that God has given me to negatively or to sway people in a way that I want them to think. I try to use the influence that God has given me to actually have people sit down and truly think about what they're doing, why they're doing it. Some people just do stuff because everybody else is doing it. They don't even stop to think about, is this the mindset that I really have, or did I just jump on the bandwagon because everybody's riding the wagon? I don't want to be left off the boat, bad and bougie. They don't want to like be left off the boat, so they just jump on it. I think people are worthy enough to be themselves and not feel like they have to. I told y'all about the stupid stuff people do. I feel like people are worthy enough to be themselves and not have to mold themselves into a carbon copy of somebody else just because that's what everybody is doing. Everybody went and ran and altered their body because somebody that they had idolized or that had money ran and did it. And now those same people is out here removing the same thing that they convinced all y'all to do. So if every time they change their mind about something, you're going to change your mind too just because they changed their mind about it, who's going to think for you if you're allowing somebody else to always do it? You are worthy to use the mind and soul that God gave you and stand in the truth of who you see yourself as. Stand in the truth to be yourself. Stand in your truth and not have to worry about the foolishness that people do. I don't have that luxury. People pop up around me all the time. They'll sit, they'll watch me, they'll do all types of stupid stuff just trying to get a reaction out of me every single day. Every single day they do it. It's like you can't stand somebody, but they go out of their way trying to make that person feel away. Your life has to be miserable. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care if the rich and famous are doing it. Your life really isn't all that great if you're going out of your way trying to make somebody else feel bad. I have said that before. I'm going to continue to say it because it is the truth. Even with all of the stuff going on in my life, I still believe that my life is worthy enough for me to enjoy and live with a smile on it. I don't care if I'm by myself or someone comes along and they take this journey with me. I don't care which way it goes. I have fun by myself. I crack up and cut up by myself. I keep myself entertained and laugh. I know how to sit and chill and be by myself and be A-okay. I can do that by myself. I don't need an entire crowd or the world or congregate, whatever. I don't need all of that for the validation. People thinking that you doing something is cool. I think that is dope, that people will look at you and say, oh, this person is doing this in their life, or they're having fun or enjoying it. That's pretty dope. I love that they're doing that. Let me support them. I think that is dope. There are people who I see do dope things all the time, and I'm like, that's great. There are people who I know don't like me, but I think the skill or the gift that they may have is great. I still can admit that without any hate or bitterness in me. Because I'm worthy enough that regardless of whether I'm liked or not, I'm still going to be me. I don't need the validation of people. I don't need to have somebody else approve something that I do for me to feel like I'm worthy to do it, if I choose to do it. And I think that's the beauty of knowing that you are worthy enough. You get to decide. People can guide and advise you all day, right? God is a guide for us. God will speak through people to also help us go a certain way, or think differently, right? But our intention as believers is not to even try to intentionally change someone's mind, right? Because even that is a sin. There are so many people who I see will use their platform. They're intentionally trying to change our mind just so y'all can hate on somebody else, because they hate them. They group hate them. They club hate them. So because the club hate them, then the club will use all their energy and effort to hate on this person. And they want everybody that support them to hate the person too, because they can't hate nobody by themselves. They can't hate nobody by themselves. They got to get a whole crowd in the nation to hate them too. Crazy, right? I think so too. I think it's a lot of people that's worthy enough to be your own role model. You are worthy enough to be your own role model. You don't need somebody else that's paid to try to change your mind, to tell you that this is how you should live your life. This is how your body type should look. This is how you should think. This is how you should behave and party in all your 20s. What if you don't want to party through your 20s and you want to wait until you 40 or something to party? That's your choice. You're your role model. A lot of people have kids. Guess what? You as their parent are the immediate role model. Your kids are looking at you. So if you have a child that's always fighting and fussing and doing all these things, guess what? At some point, you have to look at yourself as a parent and ask yourself, what has your child been exposed to that this is their natural default? Some people got to fight because other people just stupid. They won't leave them alone. Some people got to fight because other people don't know how to leave people alone. There was no reason for that lady to be all up in my business concerning what I was doing. That was absolutely none of her business. My younger self wouldn't have let her know in the way that I did politely that it was none of her business. But I'm grateful that I'm in a space, because of all of the persecution that I have to deal with every day, that I am at a space where I can do that now. I was able to tell her that was none of her business without having to say that's none of your business. Even though none of your business would have been absolutely perfectly fine to say too. But sometimes you gotta make people think about some of the stupid stuff they do. It's not because you want them to change their mind. It's just that it don't make no sense. So sometimes you gotta give it to them in the question where it don't make no sense. And that's what you thought was okay. Now they gotta think about it. And so then they'll come to their own conclusion, and guess what? They'll fix it. I get hate from the very same people who will watch my life and learn from it. I think that's the craziest thing ever. I think that's the craziest thing ever. To be able to dislike somebody, but still like them enough that you want to feed off of them, but hate them at the same time. Like, to me, I feel like that means you internally kind of hate yourself, because how is it that you're hating the person that you're learning from? It don't make sense to me. It don't have to. I'm just saying it don't make sense to me. First of all, if I dislike you for real, I'm not gonna watch you enough to be like anything that you're doing is something that I also want to do. I'm just not set up that way. If I really dislike you, I might think some of the gifts you have or whatever are cool. I might even be able to tell you that they're cool, even if I dislike you. I think to me that's kind of maturity. I don't have to like you. I don't have to be buddy buddy with you. I don't have to be friends with you. But I think I'm still solid enough within myself to be like, oh, I think what you did was cool. Oh, I like the outfit you had on. Oh, maybe you wrote a nice song or something. I don't know what the case is. I just said that because some of the people that hate me, they they happen to sing and stuff. But hey, rap too, make movies too. It's some lot of rich people that watch me and don't like me at the same time. And I'm just trying to figure out how is it that your new personality is all that you got from me, but you don't like me? Does that mean you hate yourself? I don't know. I don't know if that's what that means, but to me, I feel like that's what that means. How is it that you're gonna cosplay somebody else's life that you don't like and hate them at the same time? People are worthy enough to be their own role model. Even in the word, it tells us that we went wrong when we had sovereignty. We were free, right? To reign and rule and make our own rules within the 12 tribes, and they still was like, oh, we need a king, we need somebody over us. Why is it that people don't know how to lead themselves without feeling like, oh, if this is the new trend, I have to jump on it? You can be your own trendsetter. You can determine what the cool thing is in your own house for your own kids. Maybe the cool thing for your kids is ratting on everybody. Trust me, I didn't know how to roast. I had to figure it out. But some families roast each other just for the heck of it. And they good at it. I didn't know how to do that. Apparently it's a fighting skills. If you roast good enough, people want to fight you. It's always the people that start the roast though that be ready to fight first. Gosh, that's still too funny to me. But listen, all I'm saying is you are worthy enough, and I hope that you are able to get to the point where you realize you are worthy enough and you don't have to wait for somebody else to do something or think of something for you to be like, oh, this is cool, or this is what I want to do, or this is how I choose to live my life. If everybody is living their life one way and you want to live your life in an air bowl built next to a mound and it got a planetary system orbit, I don't know, I'm just throwing some crap out there with the hobbits that live next door to you. I don't know what you want your life to be, but if your life is a fairy tale and that's how you want to live your life, guess what? Create your fairy tale and live it. You don't have to wait till the masses say living a fairy tale is a cool thing to do. You have sovereignty over yourself. You worthy enough. I know I'm worthy enough, and I hope you eventually get to that place if you don't feel like you're there already. If I didn't know I was worthy enough, guess what? Guess what let me know? All the hate and the persecution. If someone being themselves disturbs so many souls so bad, does that mean something is wrong with the person or something is wrong with the souls that's so disturbed? People are strange. Some of y'all swear y'all busy and y'all work all the time, but I'm trying to figure out how y'all doing all of this work but still have time to be in somebody else's business, especially somebody's business you don't like. That's just me. I'm outside looking a little ratchet. I consider what I got on today a little ratchet, but I'm gonna have fun with it because I really like these shoes. But I didn't paint my toes, and I don't feel like painting my toes, and I'm not going to paint my toes right now. So what I am going to do is probably go get something to eat and then figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my day, being that it's almost over anyway. But people don't know how to mind their business anymore. And you people that go out of your way trying to get up under somebody's skin that you don't like, you need to go see a psychiatrist, because if you don't like them, you don't go closer to them. Okay? That's one of the things that I learned from the old mom, right? Her sister, actually. I hope she's doing well, and I hope she has not been involved in sending witchcraft attacks at me, because I pray, or I do, and I hope I, either way, I don't know if she was, I don't know. But there was an old ma. I love her. Okay, she was the sister of somebody from my past, right? She was her sister, older lady. I loved her. It was also well, she was not a September baby, she was August baby. But either way, I liked her. Okay, and she was the one who told me, when you like someone, you go closer to them. So you people that's going out of your way trying to get a rise out of somebody that you don't like, you're going closer to them. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. When you don't like someone, you don't go closer to them. You leave them the heck alone. You go the opposite direction. You create space and distance. That's what I had to do with the stalkers, the betrayers, the persecutors. You go somewhere else. Even the word says, if you're in the town and the town or community is doing XYZ, you go somewhere else. You don't go closer to people you don't like. What's do you feel like you're worthy enough to create distance and space between people you don't like? Of course you got to do your job. So if your job is to serve food, you still have to serve the person food even if you don't like them. So what? You just give them the food. It's really that simple. And guess what? They're out of your face. They're out of your face. You don't have to like them. You just have to, hey, what name do you have? Take the name. Okay, boom. Give them the food, and then go out your way. Go about your way. Excuse me. Go out your way. Go on about your way. But I think people are worthy enough to be their own example of what life could and should be. You don't have to look at somebody just because they got money and be like, oh, they living the life I want. You get to create the life you want every single day you wake up. Every single day you wake up, you can create the life you want. You don't have to wake up and get online and look at somebody else, how they live in their life, and say, dang, that's the life I want to live. You don't have to do that, because you can literally just wake up and do it. Wake up and do it. The only thing holding you back is your mind. That's it. Every day you can wake up and decide, this is the life I want. This is how I want to live it. This is what I'm going to do. You can do that every day. Every single day you can do that. Every day. You are worthy to be able to determine and decide how your life should look. Even the Bible tells us we messed up when we decided that we needed a king over us, when we were out here in our tribes and communities living a good life, and there was no king over us. We were figuring stuff out, even if it meant we had to correct one of our brothers and wipe out most of their tribe to get the message across. Guess what? We also came up with the solution to say, hey, we almost wiped out our brother's tribe, but let's build it back up. Everything was smooth. There's a tribe right now that has put innocent blood in our land. And somehow, these are the people that everybody's like, oh, these are the role models. The land is cursed. The land is cursed. Do you understand? Do you understand that? The land is cursed. The land is cursed because of it. The only way, according to the word, that the curse on the land will be lifted is blood for blood. And blood of those who shed the innocent blood. That's ultimately what happened in the word, right? That one tribe shed blood of an innocent woman And the other tribes was like, we bringing you the smoke because you was wrong. The land is cursed. And outside of us realizing that God called us to be separate for a reason, that God wants us to be set up in a way to love our neighbors for a reason, I don't think we'll ever fully understand that we're worthy enough to be our own role model, to look in our own mirror and say, I'm worthy enough to do whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to look at the other person who's doing what they want to do and hate on them. That's your brother or your sister. That's your neighbor that you're supposed to love. You don't have to look at somebody else and say, now, I'm not saying you can't. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose to do. I'm just saying, at some point, people have to realize that you are worthy enough to set your own standard. You don't need the collective to agree with what your standard is. If your standard is you want XYZ for your life and your family, guess what? That's your standard. You don't need somebody with influence or money to try and change what your standard is, or to try to rally up a group of people to disagree with your standard, trying to make you feel bad about it. Somebody who knows they're worthy enough is not going to change their standard just because you in a crowd is supporting you, is standing on a different standard. No one cares who knows they're worthy. No one cares. Nobody. I'm nobody. Nobody cares. I know you want to keep doing it because that's your mindset. That's where your soul is at. And hey, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just telling you that someone who knows they're worthy doesn't have to agree with your standard. And that's vice versa for me as what I'm sharing today, right? The people who are for me, or I'm not even going to necessarily say for me, because you could be for me and still disagree with me. I'm at that maturity where you could be for me and disagree with me. I can be for you and still disagree with you in love, because I'm just not going to agree with every single thing all the time. But I think you're worthy enough to be your own role model. I think you're worthy enough to put yourself on a healthy pedestal if that's what you choose to do. I think you're worthy enough to say, everybody got a BBL. I don't want no BBL. I just want the yams that God gave me. Everybody got a tummy tuck. I don't want a tummy tuck. I just want to go in the gym and do these ab workouts. I can get it without spending my coin. Everybody is doing this. You don't have to do everything that everybody is doing. Sometimes the things that people are doing are for your detriment. Doctors came out and said there's literally dead bodies in your butts. Do you know that makes you an abomination? If you're a believer, you are now filled with death of someone else. You are a walking abomination. You are worthy to be your own role model. You have access to the same books, internet, or whatever that somebody else may have access to. And if you don't have access, you can ask them, well, what did you do? What information did you look up? Like, what is it? Some people are going to charge you. Some people are just going to tell you. You got access as a believer to the Bible. Whether you got it on the internet, whether you got it on YouTube, YouTube is part of the internet, whether you got it from the internet or you go to a bookstore, you sit and read however much you can read, and then go back the next day and do the same thing if you can't buy it or whatever the case may be. You are worthy enough. You are worthy enough that's my little rant. And I'm going to end it to say, if you don't like somebody, you don't go closer to them. That shows that something is wrong with you mentally. If you don't like someone, you don't go closer to them. You don't go out of your way to be ugly to them just because you don't like them. Why would you give your energy away like that? Also, if you don't know somebody, they're not obligated to answer your prying questions. They're not obligated to answer your prying questions. What they choose to do with their life, their bodies, their whatever is their business. You have access to my life enough that I didn't give you. I did not personally give you. You, what I'm doing is none of your business unless I choose to share it. Don't ask me nothing that ain't none of your business. No need, special need, I don't care. Don't do it. Don't do it. Y'all talk about me enough. I know you're going to keep talking about me because I guess I'm just the topic. I don't know. But all I'm saying is you're worthy enough to be your own topic. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to be vain with it. I'm just saying you're worthy enough. Maybe you didn't think about that. So maybe I'm just giving you something else to think about. You're worthy enough to set your own trends. You're worthy enough to be the role model that you want for your kids. You're worthy enough to set the standard for your life. You don't have to wait till some famous person does it. You can choose what you want to do with your life. You can choose that this is cool even if it goes against what is currently popular. You are worthy enough. Mm-hmm. You're worthy enough. Some people have a script that they have to go by. Some people have to stay in these lines. You can paint outside the lines and it still be art. You know that, right? You can paint outside the lines and it's still art. Look at Picasso. Look at all of the different other the artists. You can paint outside the lines and it's still art. You can paint some random squiggly bird and it's still a bird in there. We don't know how the bird came about, but you just did whatever you did and boom, there was a bird that showed up on the painting. I don't know how this turned into 45 minutes, but you're worthy. That's all I wanted to let you know. You're worthy enough to be your own example. You get to set the standard for you. There is a standard as believers that is set and written for us. But you don't have to wait till someone famous does something to feel like, oh, that's what I got to do now because that's the standard. What's your personal standard? What do you want to do? Do you really think that's cool just because they're doing it, or because it was something that you wanted to do? If you don't like somebody, I'm not understanding how you would cosplay as them and hate on them at the same time. I think that also shows that there's something wrong with you. This is my personal opinion. But I think there's something wrong with people who cosplay as somebody else with ill intention and they don't even like the person. Now I know some of it is witchcraft because some of you are witches and warlocks and stuff like that, wizards, whatever. But all I'm saying is, those of you who are not those things and you still do those things, something is wrong mentally. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm not either of those two. I'm just saying from my personal observations of people and having to deal with them in the manners that I have been exposed to people, and that I can't wait till one day I'm free from. But until that day, I'm going to continue to be my loving, silly, crazy self. And I hope that some of you figure out how to also do that and not feel like you're not worthy if what you concluded is different from what others said is the cool thing to do, because you have your own mind. Maybe it's cool for you to pick on somebody that's not bothering you. I personally don't think that makes a person cool at all. I actually think it makes them complete opposite. But that's just me, because I don't go out of my way to do stuff like that. I don't think that even makes no sense. But it makes sense to a lot of people, I'm learning. So you don't have to be that way. But if you choose to be that way, then that's you. There's actually a lot of you. So that is still your choice also. I'm just saying you're worthy. You're worthy. And if no one told you that you were worthy to set your standards and that you don't have to follow, I'm telling you, you're worthy and you can set your own standard. Okay? You don't have to let people use you to be nasty towards other people just because they want to be nasty towards them also. Let them do their own nasty work by themselves. Or with their club. I don't know. But yeah, you're worthy. And I'm saying that sincerely. You're worthy. And I hope you know that. I know I'm worthy. But I hope you know that. Love you later. Deuces.